All right, don't get too excited about the watch list or trading this week. The volume's really dead, but you know what? There's money to be made out there. I had a nice trade in Weight Watchers today, and I want to put it's WTW. I want to put back on watch for tomorrow. I believe Oprah tweeted a commercial that she's in for him or something, or she's starting Weight Watchers, or I'm not sure. But whenever you throw Oprah's name on anything, right, people get excited. Showing you a 15-minute chart going back several days. And let's see. Let me try to figure out with the holidays. It's hard to figure out what day it is. Okay, this is Tuesday. So this would have been Monday. So it opened on Monday and just took off, straight from 18 to 20, and then kind of spent the rest of the day tailing off, going sideways. And today sells off at the open. And then the Oprah tweet came out. And then you got the pop, the flag, and then a nice close. Okay, so if you look at it, if we can get through today's high, which is Tuesday, over 19, that doesn't seem right. I guess it is. Over 1957, then you might make a move to 20, and if you can get through 20, then it looks really good. So when you break it down to 15-minute candles, you can see that this one might get going again, but it already had a big move today, so a lot of times, stocks need to come in. INVT, volume pop here, it went up to, what's the highs? 288, and then just did nothing for a few weeks, and then ripped again today, went as high as 282. Before closing at 216, switching to 15-minute candles. Let's go to 60s. It might give you a better view. Yeah, so you can kind of see the boom and then the secondary pop and then a pretty clean pullback. So let's go back to the daily now. This is worth watching for maybe a red to green tomorrow. I think that's the way to play it and see how it opens and then look for a red to green. Something like that. Again, not a lot of volume out there, so you kind of got to find what's having the high relative volume, exhibiting high relative volume. And speaking of high relative volume, this one does not have it. CAPN, but I've had it on watch for a few days. I'm just going to go ahead and get this trend line out of the way now. I've had this on watch for a few days. It did get, for this stock, a volume spike on this day, which still was only 600,000 shares. If it can get over this area one of these days, I think that's going to happen with news, so I'm not even looking to trade this. This hasn't caught my attention once on an intraday basis since I put it on radar. Okay, but if this gets news, I love it over these recent highs, over 220. It can really move at times, but we'll see. Again, this is not the best time of year to be trading. The markets, by the way, closed on Friday. I'm probably going to take Thursday off because with each successive day this week, it feels like it's going to get more and more dead out there. So I'm going to try to trade the open tomorrow and probably take Thursday off. Friday the market's closed, and then hopefully we get something resembling volume coming back on Monday, which will be January 4th. Also, Gene, again, you don't really have high relative volume, but I've been watching this. It's kind of finding support. A few green candles in here, switching to 15s. I mean, it had. Let's take that big volume spike out of it by scrolling over, and then you can see throughout the last 3 days, this did have its biggest volume spike here using 15-minute candles, and it held up pretty well. So it did have a little extra volume today. Again, anytime you have to zoom in and squint to see something, it's probably not a great setup. I do like the fact that it's found support, though, and GENE does make decent moves at times. GoPro, there's nothing that compelling here, but when you switch to 15s, this one was selling off and then got a nice rally and ended up taking out the highs of the day and holding up fairly well. Came back and retested the high of day break, holding up fairly well. So I like it over today's high, which was 1844. If you get up to this area, you might make a run to this high on Monday of 19. And if you get above that, this could really, I talked about this before, GoPro has these little mini squeezes at times. So if we can stay in a narrow range and then maybe an upside break after the first 30 minutes or hour, it's worth watching. When you go back to the daily, it's not that exciting, is it? It's just in a straight sideways chop fest. SRNE, again, just another down day. Volume was dead, but I like the gap up and the run from after it gapped up. It had a low of 830, and over a session and a half, it went to 1026. I mean, it's like a 20% move in a session and a half. A very orderly pullback on fairly low volume down to that 8-day, 20-day area. So this one, again, what I like on a bounce play is really kind of a narrow defined range and then an afternoon high of day break. So that's the best way for this to set up. And if it doesn't give me those exact parameters, probably won't trade it. And lastly, it's a small list because of the holiday and the low volume. Lastly, I'm going with CNIT. had a very nice move here. Now you've got 2 red days down. It feels like it needs to come down one more day, but sometimes they'll surprise you and turn back up before you expect that they will. So that's it. You know what? I'm going to leave it at that. There's a couple other crazy stocks out there. FXCM is one of them, but man, that thing was crazy today. And had a decent call on that one. You know, I'll share that real quick, and then I'm going to get out of here. FXCM. Let's go to 5-minute candles. Again, missed the initial pop here. So when this started coming back down, I called this in the 1780s with a stop in the 1740s, and we did get our turn right there. So on 40 cents risk, and it ended up going all the way back up to 20. So that's something generally what we'll look for is any kind of entry near this green line, which is the 60 period moving average, which I love on a 5-minute basis. And if it even gets close, I start to look for an area. So I picked the 1780s. That is, you know, one of the things I look for. This green line. If you trade with moving averages at all, I highly suggest, and I'm going to make a video about it one day in the near future. I highly suggest putting this 60 period moving average. I know it didn't touch it, but it was ahead of itself to the downside. You know, look at that. I mean, it had fallen from almost 2050 down to almost 1750. So I kind of expected that it wouldn't quite get there, and it didn't. But that is a great line to have on your chart. The way I like to use it, strong stocks in the morning generally do a great bounce. Do a great job of bouncing at or near that 60 period moving average on 5-minute candles. It's kind of become a staple in our chat room, and it's a great area to look for bounces. Remember the other part of that equation, it's got to be strong that morning, okay? All right, I've babbled enough. Let's see, my next video, I will probably put out a watch list tomorrow night, but I can't guarantee it because, like I said, I think I'm going to take Thursday off. It's so dead out there. So enjoy. If I don't jump on a video one more time before the holiday, have a great new year, and I'll see everybody on Monday. Otherwise, we'll see everybody tomorrow.